Really thought we had hidden them well.
If they can find their presence, they can find a gun.
911, what is your emergency?
Every day, 8 kids and teens are unintentionally killed or injured by loaded and unlocked guns. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and End Family Fire.
Fox Sports Radio 1400, WCOS Columbia, an iHeart radio station.
It's time for Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan.
Ready, set. Just call me Swanee.
Tiger style. Tiger style.
Finally, Clemson Sports Talk has come back to Drive Time. Hello, everybody. Lawton Swan back in the saddle. Once again, it is the show that shakes the Southland. Clemson Sports Talk for you each and every afternoon as you make your way around the great state of South Carolina and beyond, listening to us on wonderful radio stations like Fox Sports Radio 1400 in the Midlands, Sports Radio 100.1 The Fan in Florence, 920 AM in Manning. Like, share, subscribe, get the alerts, do all that. We're still going for it. Help us hit 100 live viewers. We've had plenty of viewers during the show, thousands even, but never at one time. Looking to get 100 in the mix. We'll grow it to 2, 5, and then 1,000. We're going to do it because of you, the back of this program, Clemson Tiger Nation, the show that shakes the Southland. A big name out in Tiger Town, possibly a big name in. We've got Mike Yuva coming up here on the program in just a little bit to find out what happened to the South Carolina Gamecocks in their matchup this past weekend against LSU. I talked to one of my good buddies who's a big-time Gamecock today. Man, I tell you, it is tough right now on a Gamecock fan. The identity of South Carolina fans, very similar, and the feelings, I think, very similar to what we saw from that SEC short yesterday. Again, if you're watching, share it. If you're driving down the highways and byways of the great state of South Carolina and you're looking at the guy beside you and you think he might be listening to some snooze fest sports talk radio show and you want him to be a part of the show that shakes the Southland, honk your horn and tell him lock it in.
Are you nuts?
Yeah, yes, I am. Let's go. Out of the gates, big news out of Tiger Town earlier today. We'll hear from Dabo Swinney. James Skalski, starting Clemson linebacker, out for the foreseeable future. We don't know exactly how long that will be. But again, a big part of this Clemson Tiger defense and one of the leaders. He was out this past weekend. He's a kid who has sacrificed throughout his career at Clemson in order to allow some things along the roster, especially him, to have an additional year by playing just 4 games a season ago, or was that 2 seasons ago? And so, you know, a really fantastic storyline, but one that you want to see end well, and having to get a little bit of a scope on his groin area. He's got some issues going on there after an MRI. They're going to be looking at that. So how does that affect Clemson? The good news is the backup, Jake Venables. Yes, you recognize the last name. That's a kid that knows the playbook. That's a kid that understands everything that his dad wants and needs out of him. So we'll hear from Dabo Swinney here on the program out of the gates today. We've also got Trevor Lawrence. You can go read the article right now. ClemsonSportsTalk.com. Head over there, ClemsonSportsTalk.com. Yep, there you go. Keep sharing. Keep on. Let's go, people. Get it up. Let's get the numbers up, 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 up. Trevor Lawrence says he doesn't know whether he'll enter the 2021 NFL Draft. You'll hear that audio on the show that shakes the Southland momentarily. Full article up right now, ClemsonSportsTalk.com. You heard me right. Trevor Lawrence, quote, doesn't know whether he'll enter the 2021 NFL Draft.
Holy crap.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why you're here for the show that shakes the Southland. Remember, the podcast editions are also available for you. And again, we thank you for hanging out with us, if not for the 2-hour window, but for whatever window that you can be a part of the program. Okay, Dabo Swinney earlier today. Clemson's got Boston College coming in. It'll be a noon kickoff inside Death Valley this weekend. I have never been a huge fan of the noon kickoff. You are not a huge fan of the noon kickoff. That's because I know you. That's because I know my listeners. You guys aren't huge fans of the noon kickoff. However, in the COVID-19 era, the noon kickoff not so bad, is it? When you can't have all the, because I think most of you really, I think the thing that we have learned during COVID-19 is you didn't really have you didn't have a bad relationship with the noon kickoff. You had a bad relationship with the pomp and circumstance that, or you had a good relationship with the pomp and circumstance that went around, a 3, 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock kickoff. What you don't like about the noon kickoff is not necessarily the football time unless it's hot as all get out up at Clemson. But what you don't like about the noon kickoff is the pregame. That's what you don't really like. You don't like the pregame. You don't like the fact that you can't get, well lubricated before you head into the stadium, if you know what I'm talking about. I understand where you're coming from, most of you. You also have to respect the fact that the noon kickoff gets you home pretty early. Unlike that 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock kickoff that you love to talk about, but then you're not pulling into your driveway till 3:35 a.m. But again, Dabo Swinney today talking about the Boston College Eagles. Jeff Hafley, their new head coach, formerly at Ohio State, a team that Clemson played recently during the college football playoff, a team that the Tigers may very well hook up with again this year in the college football playoff. Again, you can leave us your comments, post with us here, and we'll put them on the air as well. If you got any thoughts on James Skalski being out. Here's what Dabo Swinney had to say, though, about the Boston College Eagles. It'll be a new look crew, but still some similarities to what you're accustomed to seeing from the boys from Chestnut Hill.
A discussion from ESPN to former NFL players.
That not Dabo Swinney. This Dabo Swinney. Sorry.
This is a really well-coached team. Jeff's done an awesome job coming in, and he's put a good staff together. He's immediately created belief in his guys. These guys are playing hard. They're playing confident. They could easily be 5-1 right now. They're a 4-2 football team. And then, you take over a program, kind of what's there is there. But he's gotten a couple of transfer guys in there. But they're doing a great job of figuring out what their strengths are and playing to those strengths. And they've gotten better and better and more confident as the season has gone. And this will be a tough challenge for the Tigers this week, no doubt about it. Starting with their offense. All those linemen are back, big, physical, strong BC linemen. That's what you think about. So this is a really good group up front. They're well coached. They're all on the same page. These guys have played a lot of ball together, and they're confident. The biggest thing that's different about BC from years past in preparing for these guys is they're throwing the ball all over the place. And they're doing it, not necessarily just dropping back and throwing the ball. There's lots of play actions, lots of boots, lots of, post wheels and screens and, just a lot of different ways to get their playmakers the ball. And do a great job with their bunch sets, their 11, 12 personnel, a big quarterback. He's a hard guy to get on the ground. He's athletic. He's crafty. He extends. He creates, and he can make the throws. So, and he's a kid that transferred in there from Notre Dame. This is a really good football player.
Dabo Swinney here on the show that shakes the Southland, previewing the Boston College Eagles as Clemson gets ready for, again, a noon kickoff this Saturday in Death Valley. You want to be a part of the program? Text us 803-450-0086. That is also a phone line that is available. Leave us a number or leave us your message, and we'll play it here on the program. And I'll be honest, I wish I wasn't quite as busy as I am, because if I weren't, I would be working on the solution to take your phone calls here on the show. But leave us a message. We'll play it. We'll get to it. We have one in the cam. We'll get that up in just a little bit as well. But here's the news that we led off with today. The big name out, James Skalski, not going to be a part of this lineup for the foreseeable future. Here's Coach Swinney talking about that injury.
It's that time of year where you get some guys banged up, and you have to dig in a little bit, and you got some guys that have to step up. You saw that last week. Thought Jake Venables did a great job for us, and stepping in there and filling a role. And the our kind of policy this year, as we said earlier in the year, is with all the kind of craziness going on, is who's available, who's not available, and all that, and kind of sticking to that. If we got a guy that I think is going to be out for a little while, then I've been trying to make sure y'all know that, and that's kind of where we are. Unfortunately, really did not find out until last night. We got the MRI back late, and really felt like Skalski was going to be good to go. He was feeling pretty good, but we ended up after we tested him last night, we went and got a quick MRI, and it looks like he's going to have some little scope surgery, so he's going to be out for a few games. So just go ahead and put that out there. So that's a big loss for us. Other guys, we have a few other guys banged up that are all working to get back, and it's a day-to-day thing with those guys. But Skalski, he's going to miss a few games, unfortunately. Kind of in his growing area, but definitely anticipate getting him back, here in a few games. But just have to, see how it all goes and how quickly he responds to the scope. But great football player. I hate that for him, really do. Senior, and hate that he's got to miss his last couple home games, or at least one of them anyway. And we'll get him back as soon as we can. So he'll definitely be out this week. Oh, I'm very confident that he'll be back soon. Hopefully sooner than later. But he's progressing really well. So pretty confident in that.
Yeah, so Dabo Swinney there talking about James Skalski going to be out after that MRI and then getting a scope. Just a growing injury, and I can't imagine. I'm gonna be honest. I can't imagine playing with that type of injury. So any rest is probably good rest on that account. Coach Swinney was also asked by Dennis Dodd of CBS about next Tuesday, which of course is Election Day, and what the circumstances would be surrounding the players and their ability to vote, and perhaps what that day would look like for them.
Our guys have already voted, so yeah, we've been working on that for a long time. So, there might be a few local guys who haven't, but pretty much our team's already voted. So it'll be a day off. Us coaches we'll be working on game planning and doing what we do, but it'll be a day off for the team. So we'll practice on Sunday and Monday, and then so that's one positive. I'm really thankful that we have a noon game this week, because we're got to turn it around Saturday night, to get back to work on Sunday and Monday, knowing that we won't have the guys on Tuesday.
So again, Dabo Swinney there talking about what they're going to do this coming week on Tuesday, as the election for the President of the United States and many other elections looms. In addition to that following weekend, Clemson travels to Notre Dame to take on the Fighting Irish. If you're watching the show, like, share, and subscribe. Now, we mentioned the fact that James Skalski is going to be out this week and for the foreseeable future, but this is a team that's dealt with Tyler Davis being out, Darian Kendry being out, James Skalski being out a week ago. They've worked through Joseph Ngata on the offensive side of the ball, but they've really worked through injuries throughout this entire campaign so far. And here's what Coach Swinney had to say about one of the keys, I guess, or why this team has been successful, even when you think about the numbers of guys that they've had out.
Yeah, well, just our preparation and guys stepping up and being ready, and I think that's a reflection of that's one of those silver linings. Our defense is not easy. There's a lot of moving parts, and sometimes it may take a little longer for some guys to grab a hold of. But all of those Zoom meetings from March through July, when normally we would not be able to meet and talk ball with our players, I think it's a reflection of that. So that's one of those silver linings from one of the positives that's come about is, I think, mentally coming into camp, we were further along than we normally would be. And so it's allowed us to have a little more functional depth early in the process to our season. So we're really proud of our guys. But, hey, Jake's a good football player. He got a lot. This is his third year. He's a redshirt sophomore. He got a lot of experience last year. So we feel good about him. And other guys that have had to, we've developed some depth up front. Guys have been down. I mean, Tyler's been out. Well, you know what? Brazie's not a freshman anymore. He's played 6 games. Niles Pinckney's played a lot of football for us. Jordan Williams played a lot of football for us. And then we've had to, again, use the best personnel that we have from week to week based on, injuries or whatever. So we've got some flexibility within our scheme that allows us to do what we need to do to give us the best chance to win. And that's what we try to do every week on both sides of the ball. But I'm just proud of our guys mentally. That's the biggest thing. Just the mental preparation coming into the season, is what's showing up right now defensively. And that is a real positive for us.
Well, and that's something I said over the past couple of days. This is no longer can you view guys like Brian Brazie and Miles Murphy as freshmen. And it's the unfortunate circumstance of high expectations for those players and the unfortunate circumstance of, guess what? We're already in the back half of the schedule. And it's a smaller season this year, a shorter season. Beth chimes into the program from the big city of Williston, home of the Williston Elko Blue Devils. She says travel too early for a noon kickoff. That's the reverse effect, right, Beth? If you live down in Charleston, noon kickoffs can be a little pain in the patootie because you got to wake up a little earlier than you'd like to. 803-450-0086. That's the text line. Text message from 00. He is currently on vacation. He says, I'm not supposed to text you, but I am, with a drink in my hand, with an umbrella in it. Yeah, don't miss your chance to be a part of the show, 00, while you're on vacation.
No woulda, shoulda, couldas. Do what I can while I can so that when I cannot, I will not wish that I would have when I could have.
And so now you did, and you don't have to anymore. 803-450-0086. Again, James Skalski out. Trevor Lawrence today. Interesting conversations. We'll hear from Big Trev, the Giant Killer, shortly. Dabo Swinney's got a lot more in the docket, including giving us a little update on Jake Venables, how Jake may or may not be similar to his father, Brent Venables, Clemson's defensive coordinator. We also, again, had a chance to hear Coach Swinney update Mike Jones Jr., who last night after our program, it came to light that Mike Jones might be a little bit banged up. Justin Foster update from my good buddy Shannon, who asked me the other day, he said, Swanee, what's the down low with Justin Foster? We've got that for you coming up here on ClemsonSportsTalk.com. Now, it has been, on Clemson Sports Talk, but it has been a busy day over on ClemsonSportsTalk.com. If you've never been there, ClemsonRadio.com will get you there. Again, Tony Elliott talking about Boston College's defensive backs and the way that these guys play the game under new head coach Jeff Hafley. He called them competent. He said they play with a lot of swagger. And I think that one of the things that Clemson's coaching staff does a really good job with is consistently finding the good in the opponent so that you can accentuate that, so that you can bring that to the light and let your players know that, hey, these guys aren't just going to come in here and roll over. Last week, where myself, you, fans in attendance thought 46.5-point favorites going to be like rock'em sock'em robots. Clemson's just going to knock them around the field. And it turned out, Syracuse wasn't interested in that type of game. Even though they lost by 26, they weren't interested in that. Even though they're down 17-0, they weren't just going to go away. They weren't just going to cower down. They were going to keep coming. You got to appreciate that. You absolutely have to appreciate that. But again, we'll finish up with Dabo Swinney here momentarily. We got to hit a quick break. We'll come back. He'll update Mike Jones Jr. He'll update Justin Foster. We'll learn a little bit more about Jake Venables and how he is or isn't similar to his dad. Plus, our number 2 of the program, our good buddy Mike Yuba, helps us peek over the fence into the backyard of Gamecock Nation.
So you can continue to peek over the fence at the best radio show in the nation.
As well, you can do that, Gamecock fans, when we get back. Stay with us.
Here's your chance to win $1,000. Text the nationwide keyword FUN to 200-200. You'll get a confirmation text and info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. That's FUN to 200-200.
Now, Columbia's most dependable traffic, sponsored by Pope Davis Tire and Automotive, home of the best tire prices in Columbia, guaranteed. Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
A look at traffic shows a wreck on Kaufman at Trotter, also an accident Broad River at I-20. You can reach out to us on the 103.5 FM WVOC traffic tip line if you're stuck, 343-1055.
This report is sponsored by Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Carolina Service Benefit Plan. They say defense wins championships. Defense protects your health too. If you're a federal employee in South Carolina, active or retired, the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Service Benefit Plan packs a wallop. Learn more at fepblue.org. We've been standing beside federal employees since 1960.
iHeartRadio salute to veterans with Luke Combs.
I just want to send a big thanks out to all you veterans out there. Really appreciate what you do.
This Veterans Day, hear stories from the heroes themselves. Download and subscribe to the Vets You Should Know wherever you listen to podcasts.
Ford has a long history of supporting our service members. Now, Ford is continuing that tradition with Proud to Honor, an initiative supporting military organizations such as Disabled American Veterans and Blue Star families. Learn more at FordProudToHonor.com.
Well, I'm 67 years old. I lost 71 pounds. I was a size 46 pants 2 years ago, and I've been taking it, and I'm a size 36 pants now.
Congratulations, Pat, on losing 71 pounds and 10 inches off your waistline. Now listen to Brian's results.
My sleeping is better. My joint pains are much better, and the weight loss is coming along. I'm about 13 to 14 pounds lighter. It has reduced my sugar cravings big time. Sugar cravings and reduced joint pains, and those two are big time.
Outstanding results, Brian. Guys, since 2004, men have chosen Andro 400 for one reason: results. Andro 400 can help you safely lose belly fat, reduce joint pain, gain energy, and boost your testosterone. We guarantee it. Start today and get free shipping on any order. Go to andro400.com for more true testimonials, before and after photos, and special discounts. Only available on andro400.com. andro400.com.
Lindsey Graham talks about what's at stake in this election.
Liberals like Jamie Harrison see the world in a radically different way. They want to expand the court with liberal judges and fundamentally change who we are and what we believe. We can't let that happen. They believe government can solve all of our problems. I don't. They believe in open borders, free health care for illegals, and late-term abortion. I don't. They want to defund the police. I never will.
Jamie Harrison is spending $100 million to defeat Lindsey Graham. $100 million to remake his own liberal image and smear Lindsey Graham. Don't be fooled by the lies and smears. Harrison's campaign is funded by Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and liberals in Hollywood because they want control. Don't let outsiders buy South Carolina.
I'm Lindsey Graham, candidate for the United States Senate. I approve this message because a conservative Supreme Court is worth fighting for.
Paid for by Team Graham.
Jason Alexander for the Will Rogers Institute.
Everyone thinks they know about asthma, but did you know that over 15 million people in our country suffer from the disease? Or that it causes more hospital visits, lost work days, and school absences than any other chronic illness? That its symptoms, shortness of breath, tightness in your chest, and a persistent cough or wheezing can be signs of real danger.
For your free booklet, visit wrinstitute.org or call toll-free 877-957-7575 and find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk. Join the show in the chat room at clemsonsportstalk.com.
The show that shakes the Southland, Clemson Sports Talk, Lawton Swan. Got that all messed up. It happens, man. Rookie monster in the house. How's everybody doing? Hope y'all are well. I tell you, the weather, come on. I'm ready for two things. 2 things. Like, share, and subscribe. Well, 3. For you to like, share, and subscribe. Do that now. I think we can still hit 100. I think we can still do it. I'm just crazy enough. I see the numbers going up, 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 up. Share, share, share. Host a watch party. I'm ready for 3 things. You to host a watch party. Yeah. I can hear the watch parties going on right now. Crickets. Crickets for my watch parties. Thanks, everybody. Number 2. I'm ready for the weather to give me some cool fall temperatures and be consistent. I don't need 78 in the afternoon. Thank you very much. I live in the summer in South Carolina. And I am ready for next Tuesday to be over with. Because I am so tired of I'm so tired of political advertising. Oh. Drives me insane. I am just drives me nuts. And because I'm in the radio, I hear it all day in my head. Every break. Here we go. Here we go. Nonetheless, next Wednesday, it's coming. It'll be here before you know it. It'll be here before you know it. Dabo Swinney, though, Saturday will be here before you know it as well. And again, with James Skalski out, Brent Venable's son, Jake, will be out there playing quarterback on the defensive side of the ball. That's a positive. Simply because when you're a kid whose father's coached the game the way Brent Venables has, when you're a kid that's absorbed and soaked that stuff up like a sponge, he knows. I would make the argument. And I wish I could be on the call to ask this question, because I would ask Brent Venables, does Jake know this defense better than anybody else? Even with Tyler Venables there, does Jake know this defense better than anybody else? He may not be as good as James Skalski. Again, he's a redshirt sophomore. But he's been in this system for 3 years. He's lived his entire life around his father. He knows the game. Here's what Coach Swinney had to say about Jake Venables and sort of, just having him out there for the Clemson Tigers. We'll get into how he's compared to Brent in just a little bit.
Well, it's huge, and he did a great job last week. He really played well for us. He and Speck, man, they did an awesome job. And this is a game, especially to have a guy, because they're a challenge formationally, schematically, and what they do. A lot of motions and shifts and things that you have to be able to process. So definitely thankful that we've got a veteran guy like Jake who really understands and gets it. And listen, this creates more opportunity for McGuire and Kane and Levante Bentley. Those guys that have been working and grinding, and they're prepared to be able to play more as well. So you just hate it for Jamie. Jamie's he's a great player. It's hard to replace what he brings as a 5th-year senior. Man, he's as good as it gets in college football, in my opinion. So that's tough to lose a guy like that. I mean, he's truly the heart and soul of our defense. But we've got other guys that'll step in and do a great job for us while he's out. But we'll get him back. Just don't know how many games he's going to miss before he can get back out there and do it. So we'll see.
Again, that's one linebacker spot. James Skalski down. The other, Mike Jones Jr., also potentially in a bit of a pickle, if you will, in terms of his health. Here's what Swinney had to say about Mike Jones Jr.
Yeah, he's day to day. I mean, he's one of those guys that this time of year you always have some guys that Sunday, Monday they're moving a little slow, and then they kind of pick it up and ready to go by the weekend. And so he's a day to day guy. He's in that category. So he could play, he may not play. I don't know. We'll just have to really see. It's Tuesday. See where he is this afternoon, and as we go throughout the week. But same thing. Hopefully he'll be back this week, but if not, sooner than later.
Another name people have brought up to me, I mentioned my buddy Shannon, who said, Swanee, what's going on with Justin Foster? Coach Swinney gave the smallest update on Foster today.
Hopeful, but he's still unavailable right now, but still hopeful.
And I don't know what that means for Foster for this season up in Tiger Town. It definitely is not or does not sound as promising as a couple of the other updates that Coach Swinney gave there. But he was also asked about Jake Venables and Brent and how those two compared in terms of their intensity and all of that. And actually Tyler Venables, Jake's younger brother and Brent's youngest son, worked his way into the conversation when Clemson's two-time national championship winning head coach addressed the media today.
Definitely some similar characteristics, but T-Bone's probably wired a little more like Brent, and Jake's maybe he's Jake's a little more reserved, and then but he's a grinder like his dad, but he's reserved, and then he's relentless on the field. But T-Bone is probably a little more like Brent in that he's like the Tasmanian everywhere he goes. He's just flying around everywhere all the time. But they're two great kids, man. Just great kids, and very different, but both similar when it comes to their love of preparation, their commitment to grinding to be great, their love of playing the game, and their toughness. Both of them are really, really tough. I mean, T-Bone got in the game last week, had 16 plays, and led our team in tackles. I mean, and that's where he was in high school. I told Brent when I think T-Bone might have been in the 10th grade, it was 10th or 11th grade, but we were sitting together at the high school game, kids playing together, and I told him, I said, he's in on every tackle. I mean, T-Bone was in on if he wasn't in on the tackle, it's because the whistle blew just before he got there. I mean, he just has that type of motor, and so he's gonna be a heck of a player for us. But Jake is just steady, man. He just knows what he's doing. He's consistent. It's been awesome for him to have a guy like Skalski.
There we go. Dabo Swinney talking about the Venables boys. We hit a break. We bounce back. Trevor Lawrence. Stay with us. Stay with us.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Attention all women who have been diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Johnson & Johnson's baby powder and shower-to-shower talcum products have been linked to ovarian cancer. In February and May 2016, Johnson & Johnson was ordered to pay $72 million and $55 million by two juries to two women who contracted ovarian cancer after years of using talcum baby powder products. If you or a family member has been diagnosed with ovarian cancer and used talcum powder prior to the diagnosis, call Talcum Powder Help now today at 800-833-0112. You may be entitled to substantial compensation. The consultation is free and you'll pay nothing unless there is a recovery in your favor. Don't fight this alone. If you or a loved one used talcum baby powder-based products before being diagnosed or died from ovarian cancer, call Talcum Powder Help now at 800-833-0112. 800-833-0112. 800-833-0112.
Paid for by Bar Justice.
Many people never believe that they will need a lawyer to help them navigate our legal system. Then one day, you need just that. When you've been injured, the deck is stacked against you, and you need an advocate to stand up for your rights. William Alexander focuses his practice on assisting those who have been injured in car wrecks and other personal injuries, helping you get your life back on track. Call today for your case strategy, 803-571-0039, or visit them online, whalawoffice.com. The Law Office of William H. Alexander is licensed in South Carolina and Georgia. Principally located at 222 Main Street in Barnwell.
Here's your chance to win $1,000. Text the nationwide keyword FUN to 200-200. You'll get a confirmation text and info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. That's FUN to 200-200.
Here's the forecast from the Red Shirt Guys Roofing. TheRedShirtGuys.com.
A very, very nice afternoon. Lots of blue skies, lots of sunshine as we get through this Tuesday afternoon. 79 for a high. For ABC Columbia, Channel 25, I'm Tyler Ryan.
This report is sponsored by South Carolina Education Lottery. Check out Double Your Million, the new $10 scratch-off with a top prize of $1 million. But that's not all. Enter your non-winning tickets into the second chance drawing for a chance to win up to $2 million. It's twice as nice. See SCEducationLottery.com for game odds and details.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. You're neutral to it. You hear it every time you finish a meal and never feel anything. But if we were able to associate this sound with a new stimulus, save the food, we've achieved pulling a natural response from you. Save the food. Why are we doing this, you may ask? Save the food. Because this ad is trying to change your after-meal behavior through brainwashing. Because food waste costs the average family $1,500 a year. Save the food, cha-ching, and $1,500 extra bucks is like a pay raise. Save the food, cha-ching, you're promoted, which could pay for your child's braces. Save the food, cha-ching, you're promoted.
Check out my braces.
So when you hear this sound, rethink your behavior. Cook it, store it, share it. Just don't waste it. For tips and recipes, visit SaveTheFood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
You can save money and help the environment without taking a vow of poverty. How does that work? Well, by choosing Energy Star qualified lighting for your home. When you do, you'll become part of a growing national movement. Just go to EnergyStar.gov and click on Take the Change a Light Pledge. It takes only a few short seconds for you to have a long-term impact. Brighten your environmental future. From the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency.
Did 2020 deliver a season-ending hit to your bank account? Keep listening here to get $1,000 in your hand.
Your chance to win 12 times daily on Fox Sports Radio 1400.
Back at it on a Tuesday, Clemson Sports Talk, the show that shakes the Southland. And tell your friends and neighbors about it. Help us continue to grow. Again, we still didn't hit our goal today. It happens. But maybe, just maybe for you Clemson Tiger fans, you hit one of your goals today. If that goal was to hopefully see Big Trev, the giant killer, at quarterback for the Clemson Tigers. As a matter of fact, I mentioned talking to one of my good Gamecock buddies earlier today, and he told me, he said, listen, it was on the record, I think. He didn't say off the record. He said, man, I am so thankful we didn't have to play against Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne this season. His words, not mine. But I get it. I absolutely get it. I mean, those two guys they're a different breed. They are a different type animal. But now technically Travis Etienne could return, okay? This season doesn't count. Now, nobody's expecting that to happen. But Trevor Lawrence could come back for his final season at Clemson. And again, nobody's expecting that to happen. But we've seen guys in the NFL say, maybe if the Jets have the first pick, you might want to consider it. And I told you guys I would shovel cow manure for 15 years, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for $36.2 million. I mean, you can't. I don't know if you can name the job, honestly, for the next 15 years, assuming the 15. And look, that's for one contract. I mean, I should really narrow it down to like 5, because that's what the $36 million is for, like a 5-year deal. In fairness. So there's that. But the question was posed to Big Trev today. You're hearing the conversations. Where are you? Here's what Lawrence had to say.
A discussion from ESPN to former NFL players about what you should or shouldn't do when you get to the end of the season. Have you thought at all about, is there anything that might make you reconsider? You've been very upfront about this being your final season here. I'm just curious if there's anything that would make you reconsider coming back to Clemson for another year.
Yeah, I don't. It's tough. I don't know. I mean, we'll just have to see how things unfold. I think there's a lot of factors in that, but honestly, just really playing this year, putting everything I have into it, not really focusing on next year, whether, I leave or stay, whatever. Obviously, I have the option to do either one. Kind of my mindset's been that I'm going to move on, but who knows? There's a lot of things that could happen. So just really focusing on this year, not trying to look ahead, not trying to worry about that. Obviously, I can't control it, and really just trusting that God has a plan for me no matter where that is, no matter where I go, whether that's across the country, whether that's close to home, where I stay another year, no matter what it is, we'll work it out. So I'm not sure. That's a tough one, but we'll see how it all unfolds.
What are my chances?
Not good.
You mean not good like 1 out of 100?
I'd say more like 1 out of 1,000,000.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah! Right? I mean, has there ever been a more fitting line from a movie? So what you're saying, Trev? There's a chance? Go read it, ClemsonSportsTalk.com, ClemsonSportsTalk.com. Trevor Lawrence doesn't know whether he will enter the 2021 draft. Can you imagine for a minute? Imagine a world where Trevor Lawrence returns for a 4th season at Clemson. Yeah. That's the world you want to live in today. Forget the COVID-19 world. I want to live in the 4 years of Trevor Lawrence at Clemson with the option to play 5. I mean, seriously, would any of you, we kind of asked this a week ago. It always gets kind of sloughed off like, yeah, right, sure. Did you hear anything from Trevor there that made you think, well, maybe he would. Maybe Big Trev would stick around. I'll play it for you one more time. Here it is. Here's his answer.
Man, yeah, it's tough. I don't know. I mean, we'll just have to see how things unfold. I think there's a lot of factors in that, but honestly, just really playing this year, putting everything I have into it, not really focusing on next year, whether, I leave or stay, whatever. Obviously, I have the option to do either one. Kind of my mindset's been that I'm going to move on, but who knows? There's a lot of things that could happen. So just really focusing on this year, not trying to look ahead, not trying to worry about that. Obviously, I can't control it, and really just trusting that God has a plan for me no matter where that is, no matter where I go, whether that's across the country, whether that's close to home, where I stay another year, no matter what it is, we'll work it out. So I'm not sure. That's a tough one, but we'll see how it all unfolds.
Oh, yeah. Trevor Lawrence. 803-450-0086. You could call or text that number. And again, it really doesn't matter if you're listening to us in the Midlands, the PD, or the Low Country. You can call and text that number. It does not bother me in the least. We'd love to have you be a part of the program. And what I will do is if you've called and left a message, I'll check the messages during this break. We'll make sure to get you in here before we head towards the top of the hour, where our good buddy Mike Yuva from Watch Fox 57 in the Midlands joins the program this afternoon. We'll talk with him about the news out of Tigertown, James Skalski, his thoughts on Trevor Lawrence, and also what went wrong for the South Carolina Gamecocks, or maybe everything. Did anything go right for the South Carolina Gamecocks this weekend as they were defeated handily by LSU? A lot of Gamecock fans very disappointed with the performance of their program, especially after their victory over Auburn. But I think we got to begin questioning just how good that Auburn team is as well. 2 questionable wins on their schedule after some controversial things happened in their matchup with Arkansas and Ole Miss.
Lawton Swan here, and I know in sports we're always talking about the big guy. Well, let me tell you, when you're buying a car, you don't need that. What you need to do is head down to Orangeburg to my good friends at Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac. 4 generations of family-owned business right there at Ferry Chevrolet. No dock fees, no tricks, straightforward pricing in a low-pressure environment you'll love. Check them out online, ferrychevrolet.com, or call them 803-536-1000. 1600. It's Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac, just a short 30-minute drive off of exit 145A in Orangeburg.
For 28 years, the professional staff of the Hobbs Group and Hobbs Group Advisors has been dedicated to helping others achieve their financial goals by delivering quality, objective financial and accounting solutions to a diverse client base of individuals and businesses all over South Carolina. We offer tax and audit services, bookkeeping, payroll, litigation support, employee benefits, personal financial planning, investment management, and insurance services. Please call us at 803-799-0555 or visit our website, hobbscpa.com, to learn more about our people and services.
Mom and teacher, Anna Coleman.
I want my family to be safe. I want my community to be safe. That's number one for me. Jamie Harrison is part of this liberal culture that is tearing our country apart. His party won't stand up to the burning and looting of our cities. They want to defund the police. I mean, defund the police? That's just crazy. So there's just no way I can vote for Jamie Harrison.
Sheriff Hobart Lewis.
The rioting, the looting, the chaos. If Jamie Harrison is elected to the Senate, get ready, because it's coming. Harrison stands with the radicals who want to defund the police. Heck, he'd be another vote for Chuck Schumer and the liberals. Jamie Harrison has zero experience and dangerous ideas. Come on, that's not what South Carolina needs. We need real experience and support for law enforcement. We need Senator Lindsey Graham to keep our communities safe.
Security is Strength Pack, paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. SecurityIsStrength.com.
I'm Malcolm Gladwell.
And I'm Kevin Hart.
And we're both on the new Audible.
You know, the new Audible has Audible Originals, right?
And now podcasts, too.
Man, from Shakespeare to The Sandman, Audible has endless content by the greatest minds who ever lived. All in one place.
Are you including us in that statement?
Obviously.
I'm into that.
Check out my new Audible Original.
And my new podcast, plus so much more. Head to audible.com to get your first 30 days on us.
13 days of Halloween. One story a night, starting October 19th, ending on Halloween. Produced in immersive 3D audio that you'll have to hear to believe. And starring Keegan-Michael Key as the caretaker.
This, my friend, is Hawthorne Manor. I am its caretaker.
From iHeartRadio and Blumhouse Television, listen to Aaron Mankey's 13 Days of Halloween on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
A message from Food Addicts in Recovery Anonymous.
I came to Food Addicts in Recovery Anonymous overweight and depressed. I was dieting, binging, stealing food, and lying about it for years.
For help, call 781-932-6300 or visit foodaddicts.org.
I knew I had a weight problem. I didn't know I was addicted to food.
The FA program gave me a healthy body. I'm free from obsessing about my weight or food.
Call FA 781-932-6300 or visit us on our website at foodaddicts.org.
Major key alert! Don't ever play yourself. Life is like school. You will be tested, so pass it.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com.
Stay focused. Now that's a major key alert.
Brought to you by Get Schooled and the Ad Council.
Fox Sports Radio 1400. Online at foxsportsradio1400.com. On your phone with the iHeartRadio app and on hundreds of devices like Alexa, Google Home, Xbox, and Sonos. An iHeartRadio station.
Man, I'll tell you what. Helping your kid with math these days, why don't they stack stuff anymore? The world is wrong with that. I don't know what was wrong with the old method. The old algorithm worked perfect. 803-450-0086. Radio show host through the segments, math tutor during the breaks. Lawton Swan with you here on the program today. Coming up on the show, we will hear from Mike Uva, watch Fox 57 in the Midlands of South Carolina. Always great to hear from Mike and get his insight into the South Carolina program. Some other news out of Clemson today. Amari Rogers, Clemson wide receiver, was named to the Biletnikoff Award watch list, one of 5 names added. You look at Rogers' career, one of those guys who's continually just developed and gotten better. I think has become an anchor for this team offensively. You see his speed, his explosion, his power at the edge. If you're wondering why I didn't play the audio messages, they didn't leave messages. They were just blank. you can leave us a message, 803-450-0086. But Rodgers, I think, has become a bit of a safety valve for this team in so many ways. And to see what feels like the power in his game expand over the past couple of seasons coming off of knee surgery is so impressive. And it truly gives me a newfound respect for, one, the difference in knee surgery in a 20-year period from when I was in college. I didn't have knee surgery. I knew people that did. And even 20 years before that. I mean, the ability to fix things with what I would almost call like a micro surgery that doesn't just destroy the knee is incredible. And these guys many times come back as strong as perhaps they've ever been. But that's a guy that's earned it. And he's been pretty much overshadowed really the entire time he's been at Clemson, and would be this year if it weren't for the fact that Justin Ross is out. I mean, this is like a shadow warrior. This is Ray McCloud, who's doing big things in the NFL. This is Artavis Scott. This is a guy that's just under the radar of everybody in the country, now getting that type of respect because of what he brings to the table for the Clemson Tigers. And frankly, I'm excited for him. I truly am, because he is a grinder. I don't know if there's a better word for it. He's just a grinder, and has certainly proven his worth during his time at Clemson, both on and off the field. 33 receptions this season, 520 yards, and 5 touchdowns for Amari Rodgers. That's the most, by the way, touchdowns in a single season in his entire career. So kudos to Amari Rodgers for taking advantage of the opportunity that he has had this year. And we can talk about Trevor Lawrence all day long, but I think you have to at least entertain, would it be wise for Amari Rodgers to come back for another year? One thing we do know, by comparison to running backs, or maybe in comparison to running backs, wide receivers and running backs can sometimes justify coming back based on the other players across the country playing their position and the negative impact or the negative influence it could have on your draft stock. Because what you could do is look down the line and go, ooh, next year's class is not as great. I might can go a lot earlier, so I'll stick around another season. And even though he's technically in his final year at Clemson, this is a year that doesn't count. We've talked about this as a possibility for Cornell Powell. We absolutely have talked about this as an option for Braden Galloway. Could Amari Rodgers be a player that could truly benefit from another year at Clemson? Now, the bad side from Rodgers, and really from anybody that's a wide receiver, the bad side is Big Trev. And again, not to say that DJ Uiagalelei will not be a spectacular quarterback, or that Tyson Pumachan can't lead this team. But nobody is presenting an argument. Nobody in their right mind is presenting an argument that DJ or Tyson are going to perform more efficiently, more effectively, or better than Trevor Lawrence. So it could be one of those, as Trev goes, so goes the wide receiving core. And if we're talking about the wide receiving core and guys sticking around or leaving, how penalized is Justin Ross for not being able to play this season in the mind's eye of those that are the decision makers in the NFL? And in your estimation, you can message us. Does Justin Ross have to play another year collegiately, or could he come out? Did he do enough in years 1 and 2? Or because of the nature of his growth defect that caused the issue in his neck, do you have to see him play again before, as an NFL executive, you're willing to give him money? I mean, those are real conversations. Those are real thoughts that have to be had for a lot of these guys. But with the option to return on the table, having your best season yet, working your way into the Biletnikoff Trophy. By the way, he's just 55 yards from having the most receiving yards he's had in any single season. Is Amari Rodgers destined for the NFL, or a return campaign in Tiger Town as well? With the new rule, he could be one to watch. Another one to watch on Watch Fox, nonetheless, Mike Yuva. He joins us next. Stay with us.
Sports Talk with Lawton Swan on Columbia's home for sports, Fox Sports Radio 1400. Now, Columbia's most dependable traffic, sponsored by Pope Davis Tire and Automotive, home of the best tire prices in Columbia, guaranteed. Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
A look at traffic shows a wreck on Kaufman at Trotter, also an accident Broad River at I-20. You can reach out to us on the 103.5 FM WVOC traffic tip line if you're stuck, 343-1055.
This report is sponsored by Attorney Bill Green and the Green Team.
If you're in a wreck, you have enough to deal with these days. Call the Bill Green Law Firm. We're here to help.
Always think green when you collide. Call 771-2455. Here we go.
2821 Millwood Avenue, Columbia, South Carolina.
It's more important than ever right now to reach out to your customers and let them know what your business is doing. So if you've updated your delivery options, created an online store, or just want to remind them how to reach you, advertising on the radio is the best way to do it. Go to iHeartAdBuilder.com to create your free radio ad. It's affordable and customizable. You can even do it all from your phone. Answer a few questions, listen, and approve the ad, and we'll get it on air. Sign up today at iHeartAdBuilder.com and get a free custom radio ad.
Okay, so this will totally tell my age, but my first cell phone was a bag phone. These days, nobody would use one of those old things. So then why are you cleaning your carpets the same old way? That's why I choose the advanced clean of Zero Res. Their patented cleaning process uses powered water technology to give you a superior, longer-lasting clean than those old methods ever could. Right now, get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119 plus a free hallway. Call Zero Res today at 803-262-4020 or schedule online at ZeroResColumbia.com.
When you get in your car, you need the best directions to get where you want to be.
Will arrive at your retirement in 8
The
years.
same is true for your retirement. You need a voice to guide you along the way. Join Pat Struby for Save Your Retirement with Pat Struby. Pat's 18 years of experience can help make your retirement journey feel like a drive down easy street.
Arriving at your retirement.
Saturdays, 6 a.m. on Fox Sports Radio, and Saturdays at noon and Sundays at 9 on 560 WVOC for Save Your Retirement with Pat Struby.
If you've been waiting for a sign to know when it's time to buy a new home, here it is. Great Southern Homes Mad Money Extravaganza. Receive up to $10,000 in incentives on select homes. Visit GreatSouthernHomes.com, find your new home, and talk to a new home community representative to discover the amount of mad money on the home you've longed for. But hurry, you must close on your new home by December 31st, 2020. Make your dream home a reality with Mad Money Extravaganza at GreatSouthernHomes.com.
Of course my kid's in the right car seat. Well, I think he is.
Yeah, my kid's in a booster seat. He was ready to move up. He is ready, right?
Her car seat looks like the right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing? I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Fox Sports Radio 1400, WCOS Columbia, an iHeart radio station.
It's time for Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan.
Ready, set. Just call me Swanee.
Tiger style. Tiger style.
It is hour number 2. That's Drive Time right here on the show that shakes the Southland. Clemson Sports Talk. Lawton Swan with you, thanking you for being a part of this program. Like, share, and subscribe. Mike Yuva coming up here on the show as he does each and every, what is this, Tuesday afternoon? All right, so I had, I tried to work some things out with the audio levels yesterday, and I hope they came across okay. I don't know if they did, but I'm going to try to square those all the way today as well. Just trying to do it a different way, because what I'd like, let me tell you where I'd like to be secretly. I'd like to be in a spot where I don't have to mess with it every day. That's where Swanee would like to be. And at this point, I am not at that spot. So I'm going to try and adjust some things. So if you're listening, let me know if the audio sounds good on the phone lines. 803-450-0086. That's how you can be a part of the program. Call, text, do all that, and hang out with us. Mike Yuva, again, joining us from Watch Fox 57. Mike, big guy, hope you're well, man. What's up?
Well, I'd be doing better, but now I'm just as miserable as pretty much everyone else other than a Clemson fan with my Patriots. I mean, it was a good 20-year run, I guess, right?
You got the Cam Newton effect. That's what we call it.
Oh, goodness. You know, it's tough to watch, but like I said, now I know what it feels like to be what it's been like for the last 2 decades for most fan bases. So it's all good things must come to an end, I guess.
Yeah, well, that is true, Mike, and I guess for South Carolina, that happened this past weekend, at least for 1 week. All good things. The victory over Auburn came to an end. Got hammered by LSU. Oh. How surprised were you to see the way that game shook out?
I was surprised in terms of how ugly it got, but I wasn't surprised in terms of seeing South Carolina just lay an egg, because this is what we've seen them do the last couple of years. I mean, this has just been the reality that when things go well, and I think Reese Davis said it so perfectly on College Game Day this past Saturday, which was when they asked him, Reese, which way are you leaning? And he's like, South Carolina, I just can't trust them. I can't trust them because I've seen this song and dance before. They get into a situation like this, they play some great football for a week or two, and then they have a prime time game, big time opportunity, under the lights. You're in Death Valley, yes, but it's nothing close in terms of just what that environment usually is like, because you only have about 20,000 fans there. And still, you go out there against a true freshman quarterback, and you can't stop the run. You can't stop the run. And is there anything more demoralizing than not being able to stop the run when you know it's coming at you? You know they're going to try to help out the young gun, and they just couldn't do that. And I think that's what threw off the offense, because their game plan, now you're playing catch-up football. You weren't – I mean, the crazy thing is the last 2 weeks, and yes, you can say, okay, Auburn, they got some interceptions. That's great. The last 2 weeks, they have not forced a punt. Think about that. They have not forced a punt. That defense right now is just atrocious.
That's insanity. I mean, that's Tim Beret type statistics there, Mike. I didn't realize that. And then kind of watching it too, I think the painful thing for South Carolina fans is I think we can both agree that Arkansas should have beat Auburn. I think we can both agree that Ole Miss, at least Lane Kiffin would agree, should have beat Auburn. That might not be a very good Auburn team that South Carolina happened to beat, but yet it still felt like something. But then that was all gone by the end of the game. Well, by halftime, probably on Saturday.
And I think South Carolina is a better team in terms of in comparison to what we saw on Saturday night. And I know that's very coach-like to say, we're the better team. I'm not going to go that far and say that they're better than LSU, but I just, for whatever reason, they're just not able to play up to the potential that they have. They definitely have some talent, and I think a lot of people, when they hear something like that, the first thing they're going to say is, well, it falls back on coaching, and it absolutely does. Now, look, I truly believe that Will Muschamp is the right guy based on when you talk to the players in terms of just the blueprint, and I think that's the other thing Gamecock fans need to realize. Who are they going to bring in? All right, I'm sorry. You're not going to get a guy like, Urban Myers or, Jim Harbaugh. Who wants to come to Columbia, South Carolina? You got some great facilities. You have some passionate fans. But at the same time, too, who do you think you are? Really? Steve Spurrier, he came here. He was on his way out to retire. Lou Holtz came here. He was on his way out to retire. Who do you think you're going to get? You're going to get a coach who's looking at South Carolina. It's probably their fourth option. I just hate to say it. So who do you think you're going to be able to bring in that's going to do a better job? That's just the reality of it. And I think for whatever reason, as passionate, as much as I love Gamecock fans, and, it just sounds like some people are delusional to think that people just want to come here because it's just an SEC school. That's just not how it works.
2-3 at the break, Mike. They got 5 games. They kick things up, not this weekend, but next weekend, November the 7th versus Texas A&M in Williams-Brice Stadium at Ole Miss, Missouri, and Georgia at home in back-to-back games, and they close it out at Kentucky. Is this a 5-5 South Carolina team at the end of the season, or do you think they finish better or worse than that, Mark?
Honestly, I could see it going both ways. I could see them finishing the season with 6 wins. I could see them finishing the season with just 2 wins. This is a team that is just so yo-yo in terms of just not knowing what we're going to see week in and week out. They have 2 weeks to get ready for Texas A&M. And guess what? Texas A&M, they lead the SEC in rushing yards per carry. So you know what they're going to want to do to you. Are you going to be able to stop the run? I mean, it's coming at you. So, look, if they can't figure it out, especially from a defensive standpoint, people can talk about Colin Hill, this and that. I don't think the offense is the issue right now. I think that when you have to play catch-up football, because, look, South Carolina, you look back the last couple of years, but especially with the style that they're playing right now, they're not a team that's going to score, 35, 40 points a game. This isn't the Big 12. That's not the style that they're playing. They're playing some old-school South Carolina football, which is being able to ground and pound, incorporate the tight ends, the play action. And I understand fans don't always like that. They like maybe what they're seeing with Clemson in terms of spreading it out. Tony Elliott does a fantastic job. The reality is that's not the offense that you're running here, okay? And I think a lot of that has to do with just the guys they have from a skill standpoint. It fits what they have, and it was working. It was working, and I believe it's still capable of working. But it doesn't work in terms of playing catch-up football. So when your defense cannot force the other team to punt the ball, when your defense can only force 1 turnover last week, you're not going to be in situations to be able to play that style of offense and still have a chance to win.
Is it Mike Uva, by the way, is on Twitter at Mike_UVA, covers the South Carolina Gamecocks, the Clemson Tigers, and really everybody in between for Watch Fox 57 in the Midlands. Mike, is it compounded, the defensive issues? Is that compounded by the fact that, Coach Muschamp is known as a defensive mind?
I think it bothers people. I think it bothers a lot of Gamecock fans, and that on top of the fact that it's year 5. It's year 5, and it's the same issues. And you have some talented players there. There's no question about it. And you've been able to produce a lot of guys to the next level. But I do believe that the heart and soul of that defense, losing Javon Kinlaw to the NFL last year, losing a guy like T.J. Brunson in the mix of playing linebacker, that took a lot out of them. And outside of Ernest Jones, that defense in that front, the front seven, they haven't been consistent. They have some good players. They do have some good players. Keir Thomas, I know he's been, battling some injuries, and God bless him. That's kind of been the story of his career, unfortunately, at USC. But they just have not been able to have guys that are consistent up front. And as I've mentioned in your program before and other programs before in the past, you can have the greatest secondary in the world. Okay? J.C. Horn, to me, he's one of the best corners in the country. You can have some of the best corners in the country, but if you can't stop the run, it doesn't matter. And that's what Auburn should have done when they played South Carolina. Tank Bigsby, he rushed for over 100-something yards, but the story was how J.C. Horn played, and rightfully so, but it took away from how poorly South Carolina defended the run, even in that game when they got a win. So they just have some issues that they just need to be able to correct, because if they don't, if you can't stop the run, I don't care if you're playing in the National Football League, college, or playing, youth football. If you can't stop the run, you're not going to be able to beat a lot of teams.
Mike Yuva joining us here on the Tuesday afternoon on Clemson Sports Talk. Mike, let's stay in the SEC for a minute, because it was the opening kickoff of the Alabama-Tennessee game that could have had the biggest storyline of the season so far. Jalen Waddle, a potential Heisman Trophy candidate, wide receiver, do everything kind of guy for that Alabama squad, out for the year after breaking his ankle. How big of a loss is that young man for Alabama at this point in the season?
It's huge. He's one of the most electrifying players in college football. And there's a reason why he was the special teams player of the year last year in the SEC. He like you said, he's Mr. Do-It-All. And to lose him, that's going to take out a dimension of their game. The passing game has been phenomenal. It has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
Better than probably what we've seen in terms of just the passing. Don't get me wrong. Tua Tagovailoa, he looked great when he was healthy there. But these weapons that Alabama has had at receiver, that's where it all starts from. That's just the reality of it. That's why I'm interested to see how Tua is going to look in the NFL without having fast guys like that. But it just stinks. It stinks for Alabama, and it just stinks for college football, because, if Travis Etienne went down, if a guy at, a different school that just has that it factor goes down, it's just not good for the sport. People like turning on to Alabama and seeing just a guy like Waddle in terms of just how he's able to change the game, whether it's in special teams or at the wide receiver position. And to lose him, it's going to be a blow to Alabama. I do believe that they have guys to be able to step up. It's just not going to be the same. But just in college football, just being a fan of the sport, it's just a bummer.
Yeah, man, 20 less receptions than Devontae Smith, but one more yard. 557 yards on just 25 receptions, 22.3 yards per reception. Of course, the big play 2 weekends ago against Georgia, the 90-yard reception that stood out. But, man, to see him go down on the kickoff was huge for the Crimson Tide. All right, Mike, let's turn our attention to the Big Ten for just a minute. I know we could talk about the shocking outcome between Indiana and Penn State. We could also talk about the blowout victory for Ohio State over Nebraska, or maybe even what Michigan did to Minnesota this past weekend. Their first week, their opening weekend, what were a couple of major takeaways from the Big Ten in your opinion?
Well, I mean, we saw with the ACC, we saw with SEC football, just coming back, things aren't going to always be the freshest, the cleanest, because you're still trying to get back into a rhythm, right? It's just not going to be the same when you've had so many months off. But one of the things that just stood out to me in that Ohio State-Nebraska game was Justin Fields. I mean, 20 of 21, 276 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and then he also led the team with 54 yards rushing and a touchdown. So, you're talking about outside of, whether it's Etienne or Lawrence, outside of those two, who could really make a serious push at the Heisman this year? And it's not going to surprise people, because I think a lot of people considered him to be in the mix at the start of the season, just whenever the Big Ten was going to start. But Justin Fields looked really good. He looked really, really good. So, these conversations are going to get interesting as the season plays out in terms of the top overall pick. I know Trevor Lawrence had some comments today about his future.
That's coming.
But he was electrifying. And, I think a guy like that can be able to do so much is going to be obviously what Ohio State leans on. The question is, will it be enough to be able to get them over the hump if they do make it back to the college football playoffs?
Well, and how about the storyline with Graham Mertz testing positive for COVID-19 the second time? He's out for 21 days after looking the way he did in Wisconsin's opener. This is the fear I have for a lot of the teams in the Big Ten coming online this late. Man, it's going to be tough sledding, I think, to squeeze that schedule in.
Yeah, you say that, and then I don't know if you just saw just recently, Florida had 6 more cases of COVID.
I did not see that. Okay.
Broke within the last hour. So, I mean, Florida has, I mean, ever since Dan Mullen said pack the swamp, it's just been going, it's just been the nosedive. And then obviously, like you mentioned, with what's going on in the Big Ten. So, even though football has been right now for the ACC for the most part, I know we've seen some teams in the SEC, we're not out of the clear completely. And as we get into the middle of the season here for the SEC and ACC, that's one thing. But the Big Ten, they don't have too much wiggle room if you want to be able to have an opportunity to make the college football playoffs based on the criteria.
Man, I am looking into this Florida Gator stuff. That's huge. That's huge news. Follow Mike Uva on Twitter at Mike_UVA. All right, Mike, you brought it up. Big Trev, the giant killer. That's what I call him. This guy says, he kind of says, I'm going to leave it up in the air. We're not going to talk about it. Doesn't know. What do you make of Lawrence's comments today from Tiger Town? And should Clemson fans have hope?
Have hope. I think he's just having fun with the media. Why not? I mean, to me, it makes zero sense for him to come back next year, and here's why. He comes back, what is he going to do? Is he just going to sit there and not play? Because you play, yeah, I know you can take out, an insurance, but why are you going to do that? It's just, you come back, you're going to want to play. You play, there's a potential that you get hurt. You come back and don't play, you're losing out on money. Even though you have a bright future, this and that, there's one less year that you're wasting at Clemson. And don't get me wrong, there could be a lot of worse places to be at, but you're wasting a year to be able to get money. When you know you have the chance to be the number 1 pick. Could be the number 2. We'll see how things play out. But I think he's having fun with the media more than anything. I think if you go to the Jets, historically, yes, we know it's just been a dumpster fire. But I can't see Adam Gase being back next year. They're going to bring in a new coach, and who knows how things play out. I think it's just going to be a fresh start. And regardless, wherever you get drafted, the number 1 spot or number 2, you're going to be most likely in a crappy situation in terms of just a team that's trying to rebuild. I mean, where does he think he's going to be going? So I always, when people say that, I mean, where do you think they're really going to end up going? I mean, the Patriot situation's a mess right now. I don't think the Patriots are going to be able to trade up to the top 2 spots. So I just don't know where some of these players think they're going to end up going ultimately.
Well, that's a good point. Mike Uva with us here on Clemson Sports Talk. It was also announced, Mike, today that Clemson linebacker James Skalski will be out for the foreseeable future. He's been a starter for this team. He's a leader on this team. Obviously, Jake Venables, Brent Venables' son, will assume that role for the Clemson Tigers at middle linebacker. But how big of a loss is that for Clemson? And we still don't know how long he'll be out. I'm assuming 3 or 4 weeks. But what are your thoughts on that news?
I think at any stage this year, when you lose someone, it's going to be a big loss. But especially a guy like that, because he knows that playbook inside and out, probably better than some of the upperclassmen, just because he's just been around it. He understands what his dad's asking of him, and he understands just the terminology, I'm sure, going back to his days in high school. So I think more than anything, though, this year, injuries, the unknowns that could come with COVID, you need to be able to have guys healthier now than ever. One of the positives, though, for Clemson, as we've mentioned in the past, they don't always play full games in terms of their starters. So you have a lot of guys that have been able to get extra reps in some of these blowout games. That's what Clemson's going to have to hang their hat on in terms of other guys stepping up as the season plays out.
Mike Uva, watch Fox 57. Go follow him at Mike_UVA. Mike, buddy, appreciate you, man. Always good to chat.
Likewise, Swanee. You take care.
There he is, Mike Uva. Watch Fox 57 in the Midlands. All right, so we talked just a little bit ago. We talked just a little bit ago about the election stuff coming up. And I don't know if you saw this, but on his way to the stadium on Sunday for the Arizona Cardinals victory over the Seattle Seahawks, Nuke Hopkins, in his Ferrari, got caught up in a political parade on the highway and ended up shooting the bird and letting some people know that he thought they were number one. Now, it was a parade for what I guess they call the Trump trains or whatever, and people were pretty upset about it. But Nuke Hopkins explains what took place, and I got to tell you, the verbiage, I haven't heard the audio. I'm going to check out the audio. But Nuke Hopkins' verbiage of what took place is absolutely hilarious. So we'll give you the update on that when we get back. Stay with us here on the show that shakes the Southland.
Here's your chance to win $1,000. Text the nationwide keyword check to 200-200. You'll get a confirmation text and info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. That's check to 200-200.
Now, Columbia's most dependable traffic, sponsored by Pope Davis Tire and Automotive, home of the best tire prices in Columbia, guaranteed. Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
Traffic tie-ups this afternoon include Garner's Ferry at Pelham, also Broad River at James Ballantyne. The 103.5 FM WVOC traffic tip line number, it's open for you at 343-1055.
This report is sponsored by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Trains often appear further away and moving more slowly than they really are. And they can't stop quickly, even if the engineer hits the brakes right away. The result is disaster. Stop. Trains can't. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
She's from Irmo.
What? Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
She might be your neighbor.
I am so excited that I just won.
And she just got $1,000 in her hand.
I'm definitely gonna be paying bills with that $1,000. Hey, it's Mary from Irmo, and I just won $1,000 from iHeart Columbia.
Mary's our latest $1,000 winner from the Midlands. Will you be next? We've got 12 chances a day to win $1,000 on Fox Sports Radio 1400.
Group training is a fun, accountable way to get in shape. I'm Coach Stewart of Dynamic Health and Fitness. Come train with one of our special groups today. We will focus on giving you the support you need to get in shape. We use the Dynamic Mob, featuring intervals of cardio, functional training, and strength training to change your lifestyle to make you healthy. Get started today at any of our locations in Lexington or West Columbia, or call 803-408-4060 or online at dynamichealthclub.com.
We're living in the golden age of podcasts, and now there's a better way to enjoy your favorite iHeartRadio podcasts at home. Introducing Roku Smart Soundbar. It adds deep, rich, premium sound to all your entertainment. Use the built-in streaming player to listen to iHeartRadio or stream from your phone with Bluetooth. Enjoy the Ron Burgundy podcast or Fake Doctors Real Friends with crisp clarity and dynamic bass. Home Sweet Home never sounded so sweet. Roku Smart Soundbar at Roku.com. Happy streaming.
When a community grows, its hospital should grow too. And that's just what we're doing at Lexington Medical Center. We recently launched the largest hospital expansion project in South Carolina history. Our new 10-story patient tower will help us take better care of patients, including the tiniest infants who need special attention. It will also make room for the growing number of patients who need surgery and intensive care. At Lexington Medical Center, our mission to serve our community never wavers. We're here when you need us today, and we'll be there when you need us tomorrow.
It only takes a minute to find out if you may have prediabetes, and you can do it at doihaveprediabetes.org. But you're probably not going to. Nope. I'm sure you've got a perfectly good excuse. Kids, work. I get it. You're busy. So what better time than now? Let's begin. Raise one finger if you're a man. Ladies, none yet. Oh, count in your head if you're driving. Now, 3 more fingers for everyone over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40, 1 more if you're not physically active, another finger if anyone in your family has type 2 diabetes, another if you've got high blood pressure. If you're overweight, raise another finger, 2 if you're very overweight, and 3 if you're really overweight. You've just taken the world's first audio prediabetes test. And if you're holding up 5 or more fingers, visit doihaveprediabetes.org or talk to your doctor. There's no excuse because prediabetes can be reversed.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
Stay on top of today's pop culture. Ace and TJ Mornings and today's hit music all day on 104.7 WNOK.
It is the show that shakes the Southland Clemson Sports Talk. Lawton Swan with you. Thank you to Mike Uven for joining us. All right, so I mentioned it before the break, but the audio on the show not nearly as hilarious as the text, but Nuke Hopkins was going to the game on Saturday. Apparently, there was a Trump train parade on the interstate, and there was a picture of Nuke Hopkins that came out on social media, flipping off the people in the parade. Now, he was asked about this on a podcast, and just the wording of Nuke's answer. So he was asked what happened. He said, I really was about to do a peace sign, but this finger was hurting, and I didn't get it up in time. But what triggered him was apparently he got caught up in it, and he was trying to get to the game, and he said that driving on the highway, I guess I got in between a train or a bunch of cars that I wasn't supposed to be in between in my car, and people were honking at me and telling me to get out of their way. And he said when he didn't, this guy got in front of him and stepped on his brakes, and he said, quote, and he tried to stop dead in traffic. I got around him, and I stuck him a birdie. I stuck him a birdie. I've never heard that in my life. But, yeah, that was not a great look for Nuke Hopkins prior to a huge victory for the Arizona Cardinals, by the way. But, again, I think everybody who's been in traffic knows, and again, if Nuke's being honest about this, that these people cut him off and stopped in front of him, I think probably you have probably told somebody that you thought they were number one. In traffic. Road rage is real, man. People get that car. I don't care if it's a Ferrari or a Pinto. People get fired up behind the wheel of their car for whatever reason. You don't believe me? Just honk your horn at somebody for whatever reason. Like if they're not awake at the light, not paying attention, just give them a little honk. I can assure you, if you're the person that's being honked at, you feel a kind of way. I mean, horns need to be a little more like work their way into instead of that because maybe they go, okay, gotcha, I heard you, thank you. Make a little more cordial on the horns. I think that might be better. Again, the big news today out of Tigertown, Trevor Lawrence saying who knows about his circumstance moving forward. We heard from Mike Uven his thoughts on it. Again, you're probably not going to a great team no matter what. Maybe Lawrence is playing with the media. Maybe he's just giving an honest answer. James Skalski also for your number one ranked Tigers set to miss a couple of ball games. So a couple of big stories out of Clemson. Another one, though, locally that I am very interested in is the fact that the Augusta National, the Masters golf tournament, will take place coming up in a couple of weeks. And ESPN's College Game Day will be there and will originate from the Masters. It's been on college campuses across the country since 1993. And on Saturday, November the 14th, it will combine two sports, golf and football, as ESPN announced that College Game Day will originate from the Augusta National Golf Club, which is hosting the postponed Masters tournament next week, November the 12th through the 15th. The top matchups that day, number 9 Wisconsin at number 13 Michigan, and number 2 Alabama at LSU. So, again, the Masters hosting College Game Day. I don't know about you guys, but I think this is going to be pretty cool. And quite frankly, the fact that there haven't been fans at Game Day this entire year really kind of allows this to take place. If you think about it, I mean, it's not going to feel much different. It's not like you're going to be like, man, I really miss the college atmosphere and the college fans. If you're going to do Game Day from a venue like the Masters, this is absolutely the year to do it, because the tradition of College Game Day, once they took it outside of the studio back in 1993, the tradition has grown into the fanfare and the fans in the backdrop. Well, this season you haven't had that. You've had empty Death Valley behind you. you've had stadium after stadium with no fans in attendance. It was the 50-yard line for the Wake Forest game. I mean, it's one of those, it is truly one of those things where the tradition of having the fans made the spectacle. And now that you don't have the fans, why not do it at the Masters? I mean, I can't give you a reason why you wouldn't. I mean, if you could do it outside the World Series, why not do it outside the World Series? So many different opportunities this year for this event because you don't have fans there. 803-450-0086. Call or text that number anytime. 8:08 tonight, speaking of the World Series, the Dodgers up 3-2 against the Tampa Bay Rays. They could close it out tonight. Again, that's on Fox at 8:08. Or could we be destined for a Game 7? The Los Angeles Lakers already won an NBA title during COVID-19. The Los Angeles Dodgers looking for their first title in 32 seasons. Tonight, again, 8:08. I've been rooting for the Rays. The Dodgers got a couple of guys on their payroll that total the Rays' entire payroll. I like the underdog. I like the young, underpaid, the money ball type players. So here's hoping that we do get a Game 7 in the major leagues. Again, that matchup kicks off tonight. Game 6 tonight at 8:08. Los Angeles hoping to win their first title in 32 years. And has there ever been a more memorable moment than perhaps Kirk Gibson's home run for the Dodgers back in the day, pumping that fist off the bench, took Dennis Eckersley yard? That was something. The show that shakes the Southland, rolling along on a Tuesday. Stay with us.
If you want to get your business on the radio and you don't need help from a professional, you really need to check out iHeartAdBuilder.com. Not only is it extremely affordable, online, customizable, and heard by 9 out of 10 Americans every month, it's just so easy. You can even make your own radio ad all from your smartphone, wherever you are. Click, listen, approve, and get your ad on air. Get started today at iHeartAdBuilder.com. That's iHeartAdBuilder.com.
Hi, I'm Alicia Kaufman-Quinton. My daddy, Billy Kaufman, opened Kaufman's Meat Plant at our present location in 1955. My family still works hard every day to ensure fresh quality cuts of beef, pork, and poultry. How about a tasty T-bone, ribeye, or New York strip steak? But to order at Kaufman's Meat and Place. Just look for the signs near the intersection of US 1 and I-20 in Lexington. Call us at 356-0076 to place your order. Kaufman's Meat and Place, when you want the very best your money can buy.
Hi, my name's Tim Forehand. I'm a deputy sheriff, and my job keeping me in shape is important. I've tried other products to get my weight down, but nothing has worked like Andro 400. In just 3 months, I've dropped 51 pounds, down from 230 to 179. Plus, the weight come off in the stomach area. I've gone from a snug 36-inch waist to a 32-inch waist, which I was in high school. I highly recommend the Andro 400 to all my friends.
Guys, are you frustrated because no matter how hard you try, it seems impossible to lose stubborn belly fat? Then discover why thousands of men each month rely on Andro 400. Lose belly fat, gain energy and confidence, and feel great about yourself. Andro 400, the safe, effective, and inexpensive way to boost your testosterone. Go to andro400.com or call 888-400-0435.
Here's your chance to win $1,000. Text the nationwide keyword check to 200-200. You'll get a confirmation text and info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. That's check to 200-200.
This is Doug Gottlieb. Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by The Blood Connection, your community blood center.
How hard is it to find an NFL quarterback? Just ask the Bears. They've been looking for one since the days of Sid Luckman over 70 years ago. It's been a revolving doors of Harbaugh, Cutler, Grossman, Orton, Tom, Zach, Trubisky. Heck, they even had a McNown and a McCown. In Chicago, it's not a Matt Nagy problem. It's a quarterback problem. And the Bears need to keep scouring through the draft until they find the one. I'm Colin Cowherd.
If you have recovered from COVID-19 or tested positive for the antibodies, you may have the power to give hope to a neighbor battling with this virus. Donate plasma with the Blood Connection to help your neighbors right now. Go to thebloodconnection.org to schedule your appointment today.
Killer hits. Commercial free. That's Halloween radio on iHeartRadio. From Thriller to Ghostbusters, Nightmare on My Street to Monster Mash, and so many more. This spooky station is perfect for putting you in the Halloween spirit all month long. Plus, our Halloween playlist has all the fright with even more bite. Just open the free iHeartRadio app and search Halloween.
It's all there, waiting for you.
iHeartRadio, #1 for music, radio, and podcasting, all in one app.
iHeartRadio. Ever think of light bulbs as being cool? They are if you choose energy-efficient bulbs and fixtures that have earned the government's Energy Star label. They're so hot, they're cool. Because they burn cool and last up to 10 times longer, you save money and oodles of energy. Change a light, help the environment, save some green. The solution is as close as your nearest lamp socket. Brighten your environmental future. From the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency.
Sports Radio, Fox Attitude. You're listening to Fox Sports Radio, 1400.
Yeah, I feel like this is the time that I should shout, Rob Sanders, did you hear my baseball knowledge? By the way, I went back during the break and watched that at bat. And Kirk Gibson, hurt hamstring, bad knee, different legs, hit a little dribbler up the first baseline. Could hardly get up the base path. And fortunately, the ball was foul. 3-2 pitch from Eckersley. And Kirk Gibson just got loose on it. Took it out to right field. The legendary Vince Scully on the call. To give you an example of how long that at-bat lasted. That was game 1 of the 88 World Series, the last time the Dodgers won the World Series. To give you an idea of how long that at-bat took, the impact came 6 minutes and 43 seconds into the at-bat. 6:43 is the impact point. And I can remember that moment as a kid, just watching that ball. I was a A's fan because back then the A's were sort of the young hip club with a young Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco, Eckersley closing things out. I mean, they were a fun kind of electric team to watch. And the Dodgers back then, to me, just felt sort of workmanlike and blue collar and old school. Tommy Lasorda comes running out. What a moment. What a moment. And I mean, I do. I remember everything about those teams and that moment, game 1 of that World Series. And really when Gibson rounds the base and he's pumping the arms, and to see this guy just hobbled and knowing if he hits a dribbler, it's done. He can't even run. Can't even run. Walk-off homer wins game 1. What a moment. And again, that's one of the things, too. I don't know if some of that's been lost in sport or lost in our lives because of the ability to watch DVR, the ability to watch Netflix and get on your phone and do all this. But in 1988, the majority of Americans were watching that World Series. And I could even make the argument that as our attention spans have diminished due to technology and our phones, I could make the argument that the bigger detractor to Major League Baseball and its viewership today is not the technology, is not the DVR, is not all of the means that we have to occupy our brains, or even the lack of interest in a lot of young American kids playing baseball or inner city youth playing baseball. I could get rid of all of that and I could square it up to the strike. And what that did to a segment of the fans. And I think, too, I will tack on the faux show. And what I mean by that is the fake show that was put on with McGuire and Sosa and Barry Bonds, whose head's the size of a hot air balloon at this point. All of that has taken away and stolen moments like what we saw in 1988 in that World Series game from a generation of fans, a generation of kids. I mean, I maybe you blame me. My son couldn't tell you probably a baseball player. I don't know if he could tell you. If I brought him in the room and said, tell me one Major League Baseball player, I'm not sure my son could do it. And I don't think he really cares. And I think there are a lot of kids like him. And that has to be a bad sign for baseball. I mean, baseball was a sport when we were growing up where when you were watching Dennis the Menace, Sandy Koufax is coming on. You know, these guys were the heroes. They were the guys that the young men dreamed of being. Mickey Mantle, Ted Williams, Babe Ruth, Roger Maris, the legends of the game. That was who kids aspired to be. Now everybody wants to be LeBron James. Everybody wants to be Russell Wilson. And I think baseball is at fault. Baseball did it to itself. It's also a difficult sport, too, and I think this is the other thing that's hurt baseball as we've gotten older and we've separated in our communities to a degree, and we don't exactly, have to go out and get to know our neighbors the way you used to. Baseball is a community sport. It can't really just be you and one other guy, and not for long. Four or five hits with another person, and you're just like, all right, let's go in. This is not fun anymore. All I'm doing is chasing this ball around. You might as well get a golf club and a tee and hit it and let me go run chase that too. Baseball did it to itself. The fact that you can go out in the backyard by yourself with a basketball in your imagination gives hoops a big advantage. The fact that you can go out in the backyard with a friend or two and throw the football around gives that sport a huge advantage. Playing catch is great, but you can't really play baseball the way that you can play these other sports competitively without a huge group of people. But baseball's done it to itself. In moments like the World Series of 1988 and Kirk Gibson and Dennis Eckersley, I don't think are happening for nearly as many kids as it once was. And that's sad for people that love baseball and the sport of baseball. We had a break. We put a bow on it right after this.
Kirk Commercial Construction is a licensed general contractor in South Carolina. Since 2011, Chris Kirk, a Columbia native with 20 years of construction experience, has believed in meeting his customers' needs. Kirk Commercial Construction is capable of performing any retail or office expansion, new construction, metal building, or commercial renovation work. In addition to Kirk's commercial construction projects, their service division can assist you with commercial and maintenance tasks. If you need it done right, call 803-250-2495 or kirkcommercialconstruction.com.
When you get in your car, you need the best directions to get where you want to be.
Will arrive at your retirement in 8
The
years.
same is true for your retirement. You need a voice to guide you along the way. Join Pat Struby for Save Your Retirement with Pat Struby. Pat's 18 years of experience can help make your retirement journey feel like a drive down easy street.
Arriving at your retirement.
Saturdays, 6 a.m. on Fox Sports Radio. And Saturdays at noon and Sundays at 9 on 560 WVOC for Save Your Retirement with Pat Struby.
Meet Portal from Facebook's family of devices. The new Portal Mini, Portal Plus, and introducing Portal TV, smart video calling with Alexa built in. When you're in a video call, Portal's smart camera pans, zooms, and widens to keep everyone in frame, so you feel like you're in the same room, even when you're far apart. Listen to your favorite music and podcasts from iHeartRadio, like the Ron Burgundy podcast, or You and Me Both with Hillary Clinton. Find the Portal for you at portal.facebook.com. Portal from Facebook. If you can't be there, feel there.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Attention all women who have been diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Johnson & Johnson's baby powder and shower-to-shower talcum products have been linked to ovarian cancer. In February and May 2016, Johnson & Johnson was ordered to pay $72 million and $55 million by two juries to two women who contracted ovarian cancer after years of using talcum baby powder products. If you or a family member has been diagnosed with ovarian cancer and used talcum powder prior to the diagnosis, call Talcum Powder Help Now today at 800-833-0112. You may be entitled to substantial compensation. The consultation is free and you'll pay nothing unless there is a recovery in your favor. Don't fight this alone. If you or a loved one used talcum baby powder-based products before being diagnosed or died from ovarian cancer, call Talcum Powder Help Now at 800-833-0112. 800-833-0112. 800-833-0112.
Paid for by Bar Justice.
Let me tell you who I trust to protect my home and my family. Modern Exterminating. Hey, it's Lawton Swan, and when you need top quality service from a team that knows what bugs you, call Modern Exterminating. 765-2315. They're locally owned and offer a full complement of pest elimination services, including complete pest control, termite plans, moisture control, and more. Check out Modern Exterminating online at pestfreesc.com or give them a call today. 765-2315. Modern Exterminating. They know what bugs you.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Fox Sports Radio 1400. Online at foxsportsradio1400.com. On your phone with the iHeartRadio app and on hundreds of devices like Alexa, Google Home, Xbox, and Sonos. An iHeartRadio station.
What have you done for me lately? It's a fair question. Just don't lose sight of the bigger picture. Don't forget history. Lucky for us at Clemson, the answer to the questions, what have you done for me lately, and what have you done always, are the same. We win.
Final segment on a Tuesday, the show that shakes the Southland, your website, ClemsonSportsTalk.com. Lots to get to here with you in the final segment. So we will do that. We'll kick it off with your text messages. Again, you want to be a part of it, 803-450-0086. All right. Bent Zero chimes in, says, Swanee, wanted to give you some feedbacks on the forums. I've been in there, and I did see you posting Bent Zero, by the way. Thank you for that. He says it seems like there's a lot of posted articles. There are. We're still trying to get that heartbeat going to get people posted in there. You do make a great point, though, about forums and the way people use social media, et cetera, now. But we still do appreciate anybody that goes over and posts and gives us their thoughts. And maybe even more importantly, comes in and joins us during the games. We're in there actively during the games posting our thoughts on the game. So that would be cool if you come hang out one Saturday with us in our game day thread. Then maybe, just maybe, you comment and share our work. That's really all we're asking for. Thank you, Bent Zero. Appreciate you, buddy. All right, Tiger Chuck called us the other day. Didn't leave us a message. So, Tiger Chuck, I'm assuming one of those blank messages was you. Make sure you leave us a message. We'll get you on the show that shakes the Southland. Billy chimes in and says, Swanee, I miss hearing from Double O. He said you should get him on the air live from time to time as a phone-in guest. When he gets on the roll, he's just like Ric Flair.
And I'm saying, woo, right here.
Don't fire him up. He's on vacation. I tell him to leave messages. Call, leave a message. Get rocking and rolling. Get going, Double O. All right, John listened to the program in Archdale. He says, Swanee, I played a lot of three-man baseball as a kid. He said, life in the country, heavy use of ghost runners. All right, so, John, I have no idea what three-man baseball is, but I am very familiar with the ghost runner. We didn't call them ghost runners. We called them a ghost man. And this is where I think, listen, we could go back to kids and baseball and all that. This is where I think my mental acuity blows away some children in 2020. Dude, me and my buddies could play baseball. I mean, almost like wiffle ball. And dude, that's 2 runs. It's ghost runners on first and second. I got a double. That's 1 run scores. Like, and now I got runners on second and third. Like, keep it up with ghost men. I don't think kids do that anymore. My son wouldn't know what a ghost man is. My son, what's a ghost man? He said, Casper? Yeah, that's the ghost man. I just love, there was something about that. Even if you had a couple of, sometimes you have like maybe two guys playing, one guy's pitching, one guy's playing in the field. 2v2. And you're talking about ghost man on first. Keeping up with where these guys are on the base path. Oh, that was fun. I'll give you that. My dad introduced me back in the day to a game called Half Rubber, where you took a rubber ball. This was before they had a wiffle ball. And you cut that rubber ball in half, like an old, just a pink rubber ball. And because it was, half of a rubber ball, depending on how you threw it, would affect the curve. You could have it kind of curve up or down. And that bad boy was tough to hit. You think hitting a wiffle ball was tough. Get you a broom handle, maybe a little duct tape, and a half rubber. Go out there and try to knock that thing around a little bit. Now, I will say, and this doesn't happen often, but just once that I recall in my stellar half rubber career, which was indeed impressive. I hit it where it flattened out like a spaceship. So the bottom was perfect, top was round, and it was spinning. Buddy, I'm going to tell you, that half rubber jumped off the bat. That thing may have gone 400.
Did you eat a lot of paint chips when you were a kid? Why?
Just being honest. Looked like a lunar landing was taking place. Speaking of lunar landings, I think Clemson Tiger fans were over the moon today when Trevor Lawrence said these words.
It's tough. I don't know. I mean, we'll just have to see how things unfold. I think there's a lot of factors in that, but honestly, just really playing this year, putting everything I have into it, not really focusing on next year, whether, I leave or stay, whatever. Obviously, I have the option to do either one. Kind of mindset's been that I'm going to move on, but who knows? There's a lot of things that could happen. So just really focusing on this year, not trying to look ahead, not trying to worry about that. Obviously, I can't control it. and really just trusting that God has a plan for me no matter where that is, no matter where I go, whether that's across the country, whether that's close to home, where I stay another year, no matter what it is, we'll work it out. So I'm not sure. That's a tough one, but we'll see how it all unfolds.
Bloom where you're planted, kid. Bloom where you're planted. I don't know. Again, I think when you hit into that, man, if you got to roll with the scene from Dumb and Dumber again.
What are my chances?
Not good.
You mean not good like 1 out of 100?
I'd say more like 1 out of 1,000,000.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah! That's it, man. So I'm telling you, there's a chance. Celebrate good times. Come on, Clemson Tiger Nation. All right, loaded lineup coming up for you tomorrow. Full coverage of your Clemson Tigers on ClemsonSportsTalk.com. Of course, we'll catch up with Rodney Jones, who was at the Clemson game this past Saturday with the ACC Network covering that one. Should be a lot of fun. Thank you again. Head over to our website. We appreciate you. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for helping us continue to grow, and we'll be back here tomorrow with more of the show that shakes the Southland. And until then, as always, y'all take care now, and go Tigers!
Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan on Columbia's home for sports, Fox Sports Radio 1400. Now, Columbia's most dependable traffic, sponsored by Pope Davis Tire and Automotive, home of the best tire prices in Columbia, guaranteed. Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.